After I had been there for a little while, patients in the practice began to ask me if I was going to do abortions like my father did. And I was horrified, because the only thing worse than a woman that would request an abortion was the physician that would do the abortion.
Dr. George Tiller was shot in the eye while being an usher at a Sunday church by Scott Roeder. Previous to his death, Tiller was frequently targeted by anti-abortion groups, first having his clinic firebombed in 1986, then by being shot in both arms by Shelley Shannon in 1993. Tiller, from Wichita, Kansas, was an American physician. Tiller was killed because he was the medical director of a women's healthcare services in one of the 3 late-term abortion clinics at the time. The anti-abortion movement in the U.S. has been rapidly taking action through terrorist attacks. The most recent estimate finds that there is 1 abortion for every 4 live births. Other than the very few anti-abortion terrorists, across the United States there are many anti-abortion organizations protesting and fighting, not to lessen the number of abortions but rather stop them for good. This whole movement started when Norma McCorvey, who in 1969 got pregnant and sought an abortion in the state of Texas. At the time, the only exception was rape and incest, so she claimed it was rape but could not prove that. By the time the case made it to the court, Norma had already had the kid. In the court case, Roe v. Wade, Roe argued that the woman has the right to terminate their pregnancy, while Wade discussed the state's duty to protect prenatal life. The court ruled 7-2 the right to privacy to a woman's decision to have an abortion, but that this right must be balanced against the state's 2 reasons in regulating abortions: protecting women's health and protecting the potentiality of human life. Operation Rescue, an organization that started in response to the Roe v. Wade case, is one of the largest, most well-known pro-life organizations, starting in 1984. Operation Rescue claims that Scott Roeder, Dr. George Tiller's assassin, was not a part of their group. However, the phone number for Operation Rescue's senior policy advisor, Cheryl Sullinger, was found on the dashboard of Scott Roeder's car. Anti-abortion activists got help in carrying out terrorist attacks because of the Nuremberg Files. Neil Horsley, a pro-life activist, started a website called the Nuremberg Files. These files listed names and locations of various doctors that perform abortions. This was controversial because the website included personal information such as photos and addresses. On November 29, 2015, Robert Louis Steer in Colorado shot 3 people and wounded 9, all from a Planned Parenthood. He is now being held for first-degree murder, and Deer mentioned baby parts after the shooting and expressed anti-abortion and anti-government views. This was the first deadly anti-abortion attack since Dr. Tiller. Between 1973 and 2003, over 300 abortion providers were the target of acts of extreme violence by anti-abortion groups. At least 8 murders occurred in the United States since 1990, as well as 41 bombings and 173 arsons at clinics since 1973. Pro-life and pro-choice debate has been around for over 4 decades, allowing for American citizens to gain opinions, especially because of the major talk about it in politics. Typically, Republicans are pro-life and Democrats are pro-choice, although clearly not all of this debate is due to terrorist attacks. The number of U.S. abortion providers have decreased 38% between its peak in 1982 and 2005. Pro-life activist Terrorism has worked, but has evidently not stopped the pro-choice movement. By setting out an attack on abortion clinics, this has helped the pro-life movement since many clinics have been starting to close down. Now, there are fewer places to go for an abortion, leading to less abortions.
I'm a woman-educated physician. I don't know how many abortions he did, but the women in my father's practice, for whom he did abortions, educated me and taught me that abortion is not about babies, it's not about families. Abortion is about women's hopes, dreams, potential. The rest of their lives, abortion is a matter of survival for women.